From okay, there's the cue. So I'll again say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you're joining us from. I'm your host for this session, Arjun Sarkar, and I bring to you another edition of Dubai Commerce City's webinar series, Tech, Trade, and Trends. As you already know, for people who are joining us back again, we bring in the experts and we learn a lot from them, and we ask them a lot of questions that we need to know about the world around us, whether it's related to technology, and the trade, or any trends that in particular we want to know about. Today we have a packed house of experts who are going to take us through a very interesting topic, the marketplace multiverse. In fact, just before joining, as we all do nowadays, I went to my close friend, ChatGPT, and asked it the question, what's the global revenue that flows through online marketplace? And I was surprised. It said the global e-commerce sales is around 6.4 trillion US dollars. And of that, 83.4% of global e-commerce GMV, 83.4% flows through marketplaces. No wonder we have the experts today who are going to take us through how does the journey for an e-commerce seller on marketplaces look like. We are going to have a quick presentation from Mr. Mitch Bitterman, EVP Dubai Commerce City, where he will talk about Dubai Commerce City and our role and how we are enabling businesses to get on the whole digital commerce space. Then we have a masterclass where my very dear friend Crystal is going to talk about how to scale your business on Amazon. And I believe Rajat has also joined us, and Crystal will be talking to Rajat about his experience. And then we have an amazing panel where we bring in Hazal, who is also a very dear friend of mine from Ozone Global, and Sandeep, who I see him quite often because we support a lot of businesses to get on TradeLink's B2B platform. And then we have Olu, who is also a friend I've known for the last 4 years. And that panel will be moderated by my colleague, Kapil Bhamre. So stay tuned. It's going to be an amazing session with lots of insights. And if you have any questions, don't forget to put in your questions in the chat. Mitch, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Very good to meet all of you. Let me just share my screen real quick. I don't want to bore you too much, obviously. I just want to give a brief overview about Dubai Commerce City for the people who don't know us. My name is Mitch Bittermann. I'm the Executive Vice President for commercial here in Dubai Commerce City. Been with the company for 4 years. As of today is actually my 4 years. And yeah, quite exciting. I always remember, and Olu, you're probably one of the first people I met. Um, I joined here, we were 30 companies. Now we are 550 in 4 years. And it's just beautiful. And I think everyone here who has been here for the past 4 years can see how much the place has changed. So I just give you a couple of slides to talk a little bit about who we are, what we do, but I really try to keep it short. I don't want to take the attention from the actual webinar. So we are a $1 billion US investment and developed by one of the first free zone operators in the Middle East, namely DAFSA. Sustainability first. I think one thing we really have to call out, it's led by a team of commerce experts. So that means if you look at Arjun, if you look at Kabil, if you look at Mitch, we are not government employees. That's not how we were born, right? So we worked in different industries, some with brands, some with distributors, right? And I think this is probably also part of the success because none of us is classical government. For us, it's more like we built businesses before, we were part of bigger projects, and we can give that knowledge. Obviously, we can pass that on to our tenants as well. Here you can just see briefly the overview of Dubai Commerce City. So you see that we have on top left, we have 6 buildings, another 6 are coming, around 4,500 people, 550 companies. And then on the other side, you see the logistics cluster, which is around 57,000 square meter, fully rented, but not only rented to people who actually own or run their own business, but also by third-party logistics who help some of our tenants with e-commerce fulfillment. Most of it I already said. So we are now to the fifth year coming here. Everything is growing, so that's the great news. I can jump quickly over this. We do what all the free zones offering, offices, warehouses, retail licenses, nothing fancy around that, enough free zones to talk about. What we really do better than I think everyone out there is that we provide more than just a lease and a license. So that means if you're a brand coming from outside, you not only need a visa, you not only need a lease and a license, but you need so much more. You have an amazing product, you don't know where to sell it, we can help on consulting. You want to list on marketplaces. You have no idea how to even do that. Olu is in the call. He can help you exactly, and they can bring you to Olu can explain it later, but I think like 800 marketplaces worldwide, right? So the whole idea is you're not just coming here to get your lease and license, and every 3 years we renew the rates or increase the rates, Dubai style. No, it's more about really spending time with you, understanding your business, and help you to grow. Yeah. And this is can start with smaller things such as consultancy, but it can also go to getting investment for our tenants who are joining. What's our ecosystem approach? We want people to collaborate and innovate, so people really working together. Market and access expansion, that's why people come here in the first place. And then the most important overlooked aspect of things is how to build long-term sustainable financials out there. Why? Because it is great that you open a company, it's fairly affordable here, but you will close your business down if you're not making any money in 2 or 3 years from now. That's for sure, right? And we want to help on that journey and just want to help people to be successful. Also important to call out, alone in 2025, we had around 200 collaboration opportunities, meaning one tenant doing business with another tenant. That's something we are very proud of because they're creating value together and also generating revenue. Um, just one of the things, let it run in the background. This is one of the projects which we had over here socially. It's a video commerce platform. Influencer, think about TikTok Shop, going there, trying products, and you can buy directly there. We help them with the lease and licensing. Let me just see whether I can switch it off. Yeah, lease and licensing, but they needed so many other things, right? They called us and they said, hey, we're doing amazingly, but we are 8 months ahead of our business plan, but we will be bankrupt tomorrow. So they needed to get funding. So we introduced them to different funding arms. They needed fulfillment services because their business just took a crazy spike. They couldn't do it out of their office anymore. They needed proper logistics setup. And then last but not least, we introduced them to some of our in-house brands who actually were interested in joining their platform and let people buy the products over there. And that's what I mean. We are incubated them from just lease and license, but we helped on so many more angles to make them grow. We also see ourselves as a connector. So we have a partnership program where people can enroll to, so they get access to the 550 companies, 4,500 people. We have community apps. We have digital displays everywhere. We invite you to community events. That's something which a lot of people are making use of. Even we just rolled it out a couple of months ago. With the demand is just amazing behind that. Clients and partners. I'll show you here the top brands what we have, obviously. However, there is a lot of other brands you have never heard of, right? I know it's crowd pullers like DHL and everyone. They don't need any further explanation, right? And even the likes of BYD and whatnot. But these are the people. Some of the brands you would know. I can guarantee you the other 500 you have never heard of. But that's exactly our mission. We want to make them known. We want to help them grow, but we need to have ecosystem partners from all walks of life. DCC community. So what we do is I do C Club events, again pointing out Olu, but also some of our other tenants coming there every 3 months. We invite all the C levels, we put them together, introduce them to each other to get to know and hopefully doing something. We do a lot of tenants activations, people coming in, starting doing business and whatnot, and just to make people aware of what they're offering. Founders event we do every quarter where we bring investors as well as startups together and hopefully build some successful marriages. Then a lot of trade organization, country delegations. Interestingly enough, Dubai Commerce City, a lot of other countries love the model and they're actually looking into franchising it or having a commerce city in their own country. This is, I shouldn't even be the one speaking about it because that's Arjun's baby, but World E-commerce Forum, that's something which we had two editions already. Every year, obviously, it becomes bigger and better, a difficult word. And one thing which really we love about this event, it's government meeting private all together at an event for 3 days, right? And the whole idea is like, what's the next big thing out there? And we're talking about the Amazons, the eBays, and whatnot of this world. Trading is obviously, which is also under the Yes portfolio, is joining it. And it's really about bringing different companies to each other, see what kind of partnerships can be built, right? What are the next big things over there? We have a startup booth. We have a lot of informational breakout sessions where people can learn a lot of things. And I think we had more than 80 countries already this year. And knowing Arjun, something which we are planning now for next year is going to be even bigger. Yeah. And with this, my part is done. I hope I stayed within my 10 minutes, Arjun. And yeah, very nice to meet everyone. If you need anything, just hook me up. More than happy to help.
Thank you very much, Mitch. I mean, look, I think when you start talking about Dubai Commerce City, and we are so passionately involved in the whole ecosystem development, we can go on and on talking about why someone should come to Dubai Commerce City. And this is something that we genuinely feel, even initiatives such as the webinar that we are doing, it's all part of that ecosystem development. How do we grow together? How do we build a community? And when we talk about community building, who better than Crystal Abayasi, CEO and founder of Amazon Seller Society? I can tell you, she is a community builder herself. She's one of the most followed person when it comes to the whole Amazon seller community, as I can talk globally, and not just locally in the region, but globally. And she's a key partner for us when we talk about World F as well. So, Crystal has been given the role of taking us through a very interesting topic. The title is Marketplace Mastery, Thriving the Digital World. So, I talked about the contribution of marketplaces towards the overall e-commerce sales. But how, as a brand, if I am a startup, how do I even get to have my products listed on Amazon and scale my brand from there? That is exactly what Crystal is going to talk about. Crystal, over to you.
Thanks, Arjun. Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. But before I get started, I have to say happy anniversary, Mitch. What a fantastic day to have you.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations on all of the fantastic work you guys are doing at Dubai Commerce City. It's been very motivating to see the extreme growth. Every time I visit Dubai Commerce City, I find like more and more people. So it's very inspiring and great. Great job, guys. Very, very, very happy to be collaborating with you. So
Thank
Arjun, thank you so much for the introduction. I'll be introducing a little bit more about myself and the company and what we do, but obviously for anyone that's attending, you probably already know that I'm going to be focusing on the number one e-commerce marketplace in the world and in UAE and in Saudi Arabia and in most markets. And we're going to be talking about Amazon and why, as a seller, you should be looking on setting up on Amazon. And I'm going to be specifically talking about the UAE and Saudi Arabia market, which I'm a specialist of and is often an overlooked market because of the size, but as the saying goes, size isn't always as important as we think it is. But what we're going to be looking at the numbers. But before I dive into it, I think the best way to learn about the experience of selling on Amazon is to talk to an actual Amazon seller. And that's what I want to get started with. Before I introduce you to my seller spotlight guest, I want to let me share quickly a few numbers when it comes and pertains to, hold on, let's make this full. Yep. when it comes to basically selling on Amazon and specifically in the UAE. So in 2024, e-commerce market in the UAE reached 8.8 billion and it's expected to reach 13.8 billion in 2029, making the UAE the fastest growing, and the size of the UAE is not significantly large, as you probably guys, already know. It is the fastest growing e-commerce market in the region. And I think potentially, probably based on the numbers, also primarily very good in terms of the world. 55% of e-commerce happens in both UAE and Saudi Arabia. We're going to be looking at some of the numbers later on, but our seller spotlight today is mainly focused on the wellness brand. As why is this not sliding? Hold on. As Okay, there we go. As our seller spotlight is with Mr. Rajat Lal, who is the founder of Good Eats Nutrition. Rajat is also, his company is also based in Dubai Commerce City. Good Eats Nutrition is very much deeply rooted into the wellness category, which is very, very strong category online and offline in the UAE. They sell very good, might I say, very tasty, healthy pastas, hydration drinks, good guts drinks, and very clean ingredients. Not only are they healthy as well. Rajat, thank you so much for participating. Let us get started quickly with a little bit of an introduction about yourself and about the company.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here. My name is Rajat Lal. I'm co-founder of Good Eats Nutrition. It's a company based in Dubai. We started our journey almost a year back, but started our sales journey almost 4 to 5 months back. And might as well say that it was a very exciting journey, learning about how the UAE market really works, and also how Amazon really works through Crystal and team.
Rajat, you first started, and when we met, you had set up your own website and you
Yes.
started, slowly figuring out how to sell your products through your own e-commerce website. What made you think and consider selling on marketplaces such as Amazon?
See, my experience is that whilst if I'm putting my own website, I'm trying to pull customers to my website, right? Whereas if I look at a marketplace like Amazon, you already have high intent buyers over there. So for a business who wants to sell products, any kind of products, it's a no-brainer that you need to be on a marketplace, because you already have a pool of high intent buyers
Yep.
available there, and hence the investment required in that sense for getting or pulling the buyer to buy your products is much lesser in marketplaces compared to your own website. In fact, what I've learned over the period is that many experts also mention that whilst you're trying to pull buyers to your website, what you should actually do is uh, market it in a way where you actually organically send the buyers to Amazon, because the conversions are much higher over there, right? So for me, it makes sense because I get better conversions, I get better traction over marketplaces, and hence I'm able to sell more. That's the objective.
Perfect. Honestly, how has been your experience thus far? Obviously, a lot of, why am I saying honestly? I know you didn't have this issue, but a lot of sellers um, treat treat business in general as a set of tasks. Open an Amazon account, put a product on Amazon, wait for sales to come in. Where in reality, we all know anything related to business has to have a serious strategy behind it. And Amazon, being a platform that is literally open to almost any seller, arguably is also very competitive. So what was your experience from selling on your own platform where it's only you and the fantastic products versus having these products on Amazon? The customer can literally find other brands as well. Not as good, but other brands.
Yeah. No, I would say, look, the journey has been more um, try and learn, right? Because
Yeah.
you don't know exactly what will work, right? Whilst I have you to help and your team to help alongside on many fronts. But we also learn whilst we are kind of executing our plans, right? So for example, my
Yes.
journey has been when we wanted to get into Amazon, we had certain hurdles, right, that we needed to cross. Now, it was thanks to the ecosystem that obviously Dubai Commerce City provided us
Yeah.
that we got connected to you. And we also learned that you need to have a mainland office or a mainland license to kind of sell certain products
Mhm.
on Amazon. Now, grocery category, for example, can be done through a free zone. Now, but supplements or supplements or
Supplements.
yeah, mainly supplements. Mainly supplements. Basically, you can't basically do from free zone. You have to have a mainland company. So, as we go along the journey, we get new things to learn, and we try and implement our strategy accordingly. Right now, my journey has exactly been like that.
Mhm.
So we have also learned on the way, and I would also recommend people who are looking to kind of sell on Amazon have a very clear strategy in their mind before they actually enter a market, right? They need to do some research.
Yeah.
If they want to only sell on their own website, also sell on Amazon, what is the best route to either of them or both of them before they actually do it? Because otherwise, you'll also have a similar situation and you may end up investing more on other things which you haven't really planned for. So researching, talking to people, meeting people, getting to know how business really works in the country is important. And that's what should be the basis of your own strategy.
Very well said, Rajat. My last question, and if anyone has any question that they would like to ask Rajat, please feel free to add the question in the chat. But my last question for you, Rajat, is taking it a few steps back. Um, I'm sure a lot of people are maybe on the cusp of wanting to launch a business, looking to be a little bit entrepreneurial. What was the reason that you guys decided to come into Good Eats Nutrition? Was it like a big aha moment? Did you do any research, or did you just jump into it and build the ship as you go?
No, I think for us, it was a lot of research we did beforehand.
Mm,
And basically, the entire concept came from our own personal experience, right? When we went to the market and started looking at products, what we found is that a lot of brands offer clean label, they offer good ingredients, but they don't offer, let's say, transparency. So our brand was built on transparency. The entire hypothesis is that you will find a lot of other brands who would maybe do something similar or exactly the same, but they don't offer the transparency to the customer that kind of we offer. Like every range or every batch in our product is pre-tested. All reports are published online, and those are done through European labs, so we don't have any kind of involvement in between. So the point was that we wanted to build trust with the customer, and it basically came through our own experience. And what we also did was, before we actually launched, we spent about a year perfecting the formulation, looking at what is there in the market, what is not there in the market, what gaps are there which we need to fill in, thinking about not the current demand, but also the future demand,
mhm.
what people will probably focus on in the next couple of years. Because you can't just go with the current demand. You also have to be forward looking and also figure out what can you do better to be in the market, which I know people will, if not now, will reach there maybe 1 year later, right? So we did all of that research for about a year and a half, and then we start, kind of launched our own brand in UAE. What also became important for us to also understand is that the consumer in UAE is not only looking for a UAE brand, they're also looking for something which is made in UAE.
Yeah.
That's resonate with them a lot, and
Mhm.
hence becomes a key marketing point or a key point for you to sell the kind of product you want to sell to the customer.
That is very insightful and very correct as well. And I'm sure everyone here that everyone is like shaking their head. They're like, yeah, yeah, I'd rather buy products made in the UAE. Thank you so much, Rajat. Stay with us. We'll answer any questions that came because there is a question. I'll just go through my presentation and then we'll wrap it up with a few questions. I promise I'm not going to take up a lot of time. So let me go back to another slide deck and let me properly introduce myself a little bit while showing you a picture of myself and the team from a World Deaf that Mitch was talking about, Arjun's baby. So our company is called Amazon Sellers Society and Sellers Society. We actually started back in 2017. We were based out of London. And then in 2019, Amazon requested that we move to Dubai, which wasn't a very hard sell, being that I'm Lebanese and I love the sun. So, and obviously Dubai is awesome. So we moved our offices to Dubai and we're officially one of the first certified partners for Amazon. We are an account management agency. We're also a training platform. We have currently 3 offices around the world, and we are focused on supporting Amazon in the MENAT region, which includes UAE, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, as well as Turkey. We're part of the service provider network. We're part of Google for Startups, Startup Estonia, and we recently got a very cool award in 2026 from the UAE Business Awards, which we're very happy with. There is a program that we fully operate on behalf of the government of Dubai, known as the Dubai Traders Program. TradeLink is also part of this program, as well as Noon. We fully operate the Amazon arm of it. We're very proud of this program as it has enabled over 2,400 sellers, and Rajat is one of those sellers on board to Amazon with full end-to-end support, free support for 6 months. So if you're looking to get into Amazon, and this is specifically for UAE based sellers, you can just scan the QR code. It'll take you to the page where you can learn a little bit more about the program. And if you're interested, you can enroll. So let's talk about the e-commerce opportunity. I want to give you a bunch of numbers because I love numbers, specifically if they have to do with money and sales, because who doesn't like those types of numbers? So like I said earlier, the market here is exploding in terms of sales and in terms of e-commerce. We talk to a lot of international brands, mainly European brands, that are looking to enter into the Middle East region, and they do understand the value of the consumers here in the Middle East. They value the idea that this is a growth market, not a mature market, versus Europe, which is considered a mature market when it comes to e-commerce. And we all know there's a big benefit when you enter a growth market, as it is inherently easier when you start at a market that is at a lower pace. However, the difference here, we're talking a little bit between UAE and Saudi Arabia, as they are the top 2 markets in the Middle East. The difference is certainly the size of Saudi Arabia is much bigger, but the UAE market, and Rajat will tell you this for sure, is a more mature market in terms of e-commerce, and thus it is much more it's much more active in terms of sales than Saudi Arabia, but both markets are fantastic. Let's look at a comparison of both. The projected sales in terms of e-commerce, this is not specific to Amazon, of course, even though Amazon, by the way, owns 35% of the current e-commerce market sales in the UAE, so quite a significant chunk, hence why you should be on Amazon no matter what, because it's 35%. $13.8 billion in sales is projected in terms of e-commerce in 2029, and in Saudi Arabia, a very close, higher number certainly, but very close. 46% of the population in the UAE not only buy online, but buy online weekly. I'm more of the population that buys online daily, unfortunately, to my bank account, but that's the actual scenario. I'm sure a lot of you understand this phenomena of buying things online daily or even weekly, but this is a very active market. All you see is bikes coming back and forth from all of these companies. If you're interested to know what are the top e-commerce categories in the UAE, we love our fashion being the highest grossing category in terms of sales online in 2024, with $2.6 billion in sales. This is purely online, apparel and footwear, consumer electronics, and home care. Primarily, home care is due to the influx of new residents coming into the UAE. Not only that, as you probably know, with most of you being residents of the UAE, people tend to change apartments or change homes, go to bigger homes as they get more situated in the UAE or as their families grow. Hence why you always need some home stuff for your apartments and all of that. The fastest UAE growth category in 2029 projected to be home care, after that consumer health, and food and drinks, which Rajat is kind of dabbling in. And the reason why we really love food and drinks categories as well as all consumable categories is just because of that. Repeat purchases. It is a consumable category, and Amazon really knows how to focus on subscriptions, focus on the Prime membership, making it a much faster replenishment cycle for customers and making it more convenience for them to purchase products online. Now, Amazon, as well as most other marketplaces, are dabbling into what we now call quick commerce. No longer are we looking at e-commerce. Quick commerce is the new player in town. As a matter of fact, Amazon Now, which is Amazon's own quick commerce, if you're thinking what is quick commerce, you've probably already heard about Noon Minutes, Talabat, Deliveroo. Well, Amazon wants to put the entirety of the catalog on Amazon Now. Amazon has seen that this is the foreseeable future of e-commerce. In the past, Amazon, in the past few years, internationally, both in Europe as well as the US, Amazon was heavily investing in actual physical retail stores. If you follow any news about Amazon, you will read that Amazon is quietly shutting down these stores as they believe people don't want to come to stores. They want their products delivered quickly. And fun fact is Amazon Now, which is Amazon's quick commerce, actually launched the very first market right here in the UAE, as we are just special customers here in the UAE. And now it's beta testing Amazon Now in the UK, in London in particular, and then it's going to beta test Amazon Now in other platforms, in other marketplaces as well. Just to let you know, Amazon currently operates 23 markets across the world, so it's quite a significant rollout. Noon Minutes has been the player in this field for quite some time, and it has a promise of 15 minutes delivery in UAE cities. Now Amazon is also saying, no, we can do it also in 15 minutes. So it's interesting that we're able to provide all of these consumers such a great way for them to buy products. So why is Amazon one of the smartest first marketplaces for you to get into? Rajat thankfully touched on a little bit of these things, even though I never told him anything related to my slides. But it's certainly that Amazon is the #1 e-commerce marketplace currently in the UAE and in Saudi Arabia, Noon being #2, so they're both fantastic, of course. But customers have loyalty to the Amazon brand, and it is a low friction entry point to you. Amazon is, the back end, the front end, everything is English. Amazon has internal tools to make it easier for you as a brand to launch your product. And remember, Amazon is a local presence with an international platform. So it is also a systematized approach for you to launch in one market and then be able to sell your products across the world on Amazon's infrastructure. It's not very easy, but it's also not very difficult in order to sell on other marketplaces. Amazon also provides you FBA storage, meaning you can have your own warehouse, which is completely managed by Amazon. You don't have to worry about that. Amazon ads for traffic and inbuilt compliance systems to ensure that you are selling correctly and in the way that you should be selling. And that's it from my side. Let's see, Rajat, let me just, before I take up a lot of time, we have a question from Omkar Pawar for you, Rajat, talking about, I don't know if you saw it, but let me read it. From launch to now, what is the revenue contribution of Amazon versus your website?
So it's been building over a period of time. If I just look at what current ratio is. It's 60% towards Amazon, 40% towards my own website. Depends on which SKU you also are able to list on the
Oh,
Amazon, because grocery items, they move faster compared to others. So the ones that we have currently online is our grocery items. There are few more SKUs that are going to come in the next couple of months, but surely the traction is much better on Amazon compared to our own website. Just to give you a statistics, if I see my own website versus Amazon, there is at least bare minimum 2 to 3 orders daily on Amazon for a particular SKU, vis-a-vis my own website where the orders scatter over the week, right? So the traction is much more sustainable, much more consistent in Amazon compared to our own website. It also depends on how you market your products, how you do it on Amazon versus how you do on your own website. So there are a lot of variables, but in short, the experience on Amazon is much better, much consistent, and much faster compared to your own website.
thank you so
Fantastic.
much, Rajat.
Thanks a lot, Rajat. Crystal, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for this particular session. For people who have joined us again and have been part of our previous webinars, usually the master class is where someone is just taking through slides, talking about the topic, explaining. You've added a new dimension to it, right? By bringing in Rajat. So it's like hearing from the horse's mouth, as they say, right? So whoever is interested to know more about how to scale your business on Amazon, feel free to reach out to Crystal, feel free to reach out to us, send us an email. We are more than happy to support you scale and grow your business on Amazon. But having said that, it's not just Amazon, we understand, is the biggest, is the largest, with all those numbers that Crystal there shared. But market dynamics are changing. There are marketplaces that are emerging, and now we have an interesting panel that's going to talk about the power shift, how marketplaces are redefining commerce. And to moderate this panel, I invite my colleague Kapil Bhamre, who has an amazing lineup of speakers with him. Kapil.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for setting up the tone, Arjun, from the beginning. And thanks, Crystal, for wonderful insights. Now we have three team panel members, Mr. Sandeep Narayan, Executive Vice President from TradeLink, Ms. Hazal Maras, General Manager from Ozone Global, and we have Mr. Olu from Channel Engine. So to begin with, I would like to start with a quick question to Sandeep regarding the TradeLink marketplace. So as TradeLink is connecting a lot of B2B businesses, right? So where do typically SMEs find issues when it comes to managing the pricing, accessing the international market, how they plan to discover suppliers on the platform? So what's your take on this, Sandeep, from the TradeLink perspective?
Thanks, Kapil. Good afternoon, everyone. And I want to start with congratulating Mitch on the 4-year milestone. And thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to support and participate in the Dubai Commerce City activities. So let me start. I mean, I want to start by giving a bit of context on TradeLink as a website, because I heard a lot about Amazon, and I want to take a bit away from the Amazon limelight and give you a bit of a context on the TradeLink part. So we are not a B2C like Amazon. So we are a big complete B2B marketplace platform in the region. We operate across 14 categories, including F&B, smartphones, consumer electronics, office supplies, etc. Our core customer range are from Bakala stores, like a mom and pop store, independent retailers, to a large enterprise. So essentially, I would say any business that buy to resell, to consume, or to manufacture, they are our customers. And we serve around 10,000 odd customers every month only in UAE. So we operate in UAE and KSA, but in UAE alone, we do around 10,000 plus customers. So back to on your question, from a B2B marketplace, I think if I look at it fundamentally, we are the how the SMEs operate, especially, I think there are three areas where we are supporting as a marketplace. One is primarily on the discovery of the assortment and products. The second probably would be the pricing, and finally the market access itself. So if I have to break it down, the first one, it's always on the discovery of the product, right? So traditionally, if you look at it, a small retailer or a bakala owner, uh, if they have to deal with multiple distributors. So if I want to buy a product, I'll have to engage, depending on the product or the category, I have to engage multiple distributors or brands to have the product and assortments on on the retailer. And each distributor will have a set of limited brands, and that means the process is so fragmented and time consuming. What platforms like TradeLink do is we centralize this experience. So a business can come onto the platform, let's say come onto TradeLink, access millions of SKUs. We have around 2 million plus SKUs on the platform. And they get to access multiple categories. They get also a personalized view on their needs. And that's all in one place, which is on the app itself. The second part of the value add is definitely the pricing and the negotiation. So if you look at it, most of the pricing, when you look at it, it's mostly, I would say, to a large extent opaque. It's primarily, I would say, dependent heavily on the relationship or the volume what you commit to the distributor or the brand. And we are changing that a bit. So we bring in a lot of transparency while also allowing a flexibility to do so. So for example, let's say if you are a buyer and you're not satisfied with the listed price, you can negotiate directly through a AI driven TradeLink WhatsApp ordering tool. You can even request for a physical sales person to visit the store. So as a retailer or an SME, you get the efficiency of a digital platform with the flexibility of traditional touch point. And third aspect I would say is also the international market, because most of the SMEs are, I would say, largely restricted in some of the cases because of the local distribution or the distributor network which is there. And what we do as marketplaces, we remove the barrier. Now we have access to multiple partners across China and a couple of other markets where you have access to products beyond the immediate geography, let's say UAE as a whole, right? This helps a retailer to bring in assortment and also make it very competitive without the requirement of a complex supply chain setup. And I think if I have to summarize all of it together, I think platforms like TradeLink or any other B2B platform, and to a large extent even Amazon, right? I think we come in to simplify the procurement process overall. I would say from onboarding to discovery of the product to giving credit access and delivery. We believe we bring in tech to get everything integrated. And retailer can also use the approved credit which we have on the platform specific to TradeLink to order multiple brands, multiple categories, and receive a consolidated delivery. We are not launched quick commerce yet, but we do same day delivery. Let's say almost 60% of our orders get delivered in first 3 hours to 6 hours. And we also have next day delivery. That's I would say, a massive shift from managing retailer having to manage multiple suppliers, invoicing, logistics, dependency on multiple delivery management, etc. So I think we are not just digitalizing the procurement. I think it's making it smarter, right, and faster, which is helping most of the retailers scale.
That's great. That's great. I think what I have observed over a period of last 2 to 3 years working very closely with TradeLink, right? I think you're building TradeLink block by block, bringing the ecosystem players together, right? And at the same time, leveraging the technology to really make it efficient. So I have seen the TradeLink operations very closely. In fact, I keep visiting at least once in a month for customer visits. And I'm really impressed with the efficiency, the way TradeLink is operating. So thank you. Thanks for your insight. Now, moving to Ms. Hazel. Now, Ozone Global is trying to support businesses to access international markets, right? So essentially, you're leveraging the technology and platform, right? So where do you see the B2B sellers are finding the biggest challenge when it comes to accessing international markets? And what role Ozone Global is playing to support these kind of B2B businesses?
Thank you so much for the question, and also thanks everyone organizing and having me too in this like lovely event. Let me like start by telling about Ozon. Ozon is one of the biggest marketplaces in Russia and some CIS countries, mostly in Russia. It has like more than 65 million active users, active customers, like every month, like visiting Ozon site, and it's a huge marketplace ecosystem. It's of course not just a marketplace. For us, we're just using the marketplace part, but it's a huge ecosystem, including like tourism, including financing, banking, with lots of branches. The main thing, like we built this, by the way, Ozone Global in 2022, and like now we're like operating with more than like 5,000 sellers all around the world, and so, like selling goods from Dubai to Russia and Turkey to Russia. Our main two branches are in UAE and in Turkey. And we're operating everything from our Turkey office, Istanbul office, and also visiting like Dubai a lot, like, and meeting with all of you guys when we do. The main thing about like a marketplace ecosystems, like the biggest challenge, of course, for any seller all around the world is to reach or penetrate a new market, like cross-border market, because like of course it's very hard to deal with all the customs, deal with all the logistics, finding the right customers and doing the marketing part, which is almost impossible for a sole seller. Like for example, take this today, if I decide to sell something to Russia by myself, it's really almost impossible, and it's really costly. The marketplaces, of course, not just Ozon, like all the marketplaces doing this cross-border operation, it's e-exporting, e-importing at the end of the day. So like we create this base, we do marketplaces, create this base that sellers and customers are not dealing with anything. It's almost a seamless line and seamless service for them. Like it's like the marketplace, as I'm going to give example from Ozon. Like for example, if a seller just like sells goods on Ozon, it's like the service is as like, it's almost like similar to a domestic experience. Like a customer, like we're doing the marketing of the goods because we have the Ozon base, customer base, more than like 65 million right now, and also we have almost 3 billion annual orders. So the customer is ready, the demand is ready. The only thing is like a seller enters to the system, onboards himself or herself to the system, and starts selling the goods with right prices, etc. Of course, like with some, of course, rule set. But the thing is, like, this is a seamless operation for them. They can sell all around the world, like in all marketplaces, by using this kind of marketplaces. We're also creating this for them.
That's interesting. I think you have mentioned a very good point, right? The localization experience, the end consumer doesn't have to get an impression that this is an international seller, right? So I think creating that experience itself is a great achievement when it comes to platforms like Ozone Global, right? If you typically look at Amazon as a probably the most well-known marketplace, right? So you have a clear category of within country and outside the country, right? So you get to know about the seller background. But here, I think that seamless entry for international players and the platform you're leveraging, I think it is fantastic. Great, thank you. Thanks for your insights, Hazel. Now we have heard from marketplace panel members, Mr. Sandeep and Ms. Hazel. Now we have a very interesting technology partner company. Maybe Olu can give you a quick introduction. But Olu, from your perspective, marketplace expansion is not only about listing the products, right? So
Correct.
once you do that, what are the other capabilities brands need, such as data intelligence, automation, localization of the strategy, or is there going to be a totally entire different play when it comes to succeeding on international marketplace? What's your perspective on this?
Yeah, thanks, Kapil. How you guys are doing? Hope you guys are having a great session at the moment. Thank you so much for having me. Firstly, I want to thank Dubai Commerce City for including Channel Engine in this amazing session, bringing us all together. It's also great to be part of the Dubai Commerce City ecosystem now for the last 5 years. I think we were tenant number 5 when we joined back in 2021, and seeing the ecosystem grow so much is so exciting to see. So my name is Olu Olufowa. As a quick introduction, I head the partnership ecosystem at Channel Engine. We are a 15-year-old technology company, and what we do, we are a multi-channel marketplace integrator. What that means is that we work with not just the brands themselves, retailers and wholesalers, to help solve marketplace complexities. And what does that mean, right? There are so many marketplaces, as you already seen with Ozone, with Amazon, with Trading, both B2B, both D2C, maybe some even other B2B2C models, right? How do you connect to those different marketplaces from your single source of truth within the organization? How do you optimize once you are connected to those marketplaces? And how do you scale? Not just scaling locally here in the Middle East, but also internationally. We do that with Channel Engine. We have over 1,300 channels. I'll repeat that, 1,300 channels now connected to Channel Engine, plus all the local heroes here in the region. Amazon obviously being one of them for UAE and Saudi Arabia, but also the traditional marketplaces like Noon and Namshi. We also see quite recently that niche marketplaces like Trendio, like Shein are also stepping into the market. And why are they doing that? Because they are seeing, as Crystal mentioned in her pitch earlier, that the region is growing and is growing exponentially. COVID was a big catalyst to that, making sure that the transition and digital transformation explosion happened and happened quite rapidly. But in terms of your question, I think what we see in terms of success on these marketplaces is not just copying and pasting data from one marketplace to another. There are sets of key layers and foundations that needs to be adhered to. And as a technology company, what we try to build is to build the right foundation for our sellers. We have over 1,000 sellers right now on Channel Engine. And as a global company, we work with the local sellers, but also international sellers. And what we do for them is to help connect their systems, no matter what systems they have, either is a WMS, an OMS, a PIM system, which is a product performance management system, or what we also see is that some of the sellers, especially the ones locally, do work with Excel files and CSV files, connecting the source of truth. And when I mean by source of truth, I mean where all the product data is stored. So the price, the stock, and the content. Be able to synchronize that across 1,300 plus marketplaces, but also being able to do that with APIs to drive that automations. So if you're not working with APIs, I think it's a big fundamental flaw, but you are able to work with CSV files and product feed. So building the right foundation is very important. Building the right foundation with technology and building a synchronized flow from your backend system to those marketplaces is highly, highly important. Once that's done, I think automation, as you mentioned, is also very important. Working manually on these marketplaces is a huge, huge bottleneck. It's slow, it's prone of errors, and it takes a lot of operational resources from the seller. So what we try to do is to build automation within the flows. So from the content flow to the pricing flow to the order management to the inventory management, all the way to the shipment flow, making sure that this can be done quite easily and simply using the technology that we've built for the last 15 years. Once the foundation is built and automation is now embedded in the foundation, what is also very important is the intelligence, the data, understanding what marketplace to sell on and why, what pricing strategies to sell on those marketplaces, because all these marketplaces work very differently. So what you do on Amazon does not replicate to what you do on Noon, for example. You have to think about those strategies based on data, and those data creates intelligence that allows you to be successful. In terms of intelligence, I think it's also a very critical part, because what we see is that a lot of the sellers we work with typically set up Amazon, set up Noon, copy and paste all the information and put it on one channel or multiple channels, but then they don't get conversions. And the reason why is that because they haven't built the foundation properly and they haven't put an intelligence into the whole process to make sure that the data that they are using to make this decision comes from a very reasonable place. And what we do at Channel Engine is that we support our sellers by not just providing them the technology, but because we've been working in the industry now for the last 15 years, we understand how the ecosystem works across all the 1,300 marketplaces that we have. We embed our resource teams into the seller's ecosystem, providing them things like the integration support, onboarding support, but also once they are live, we are able to provide them a customer success manager who helps build that strategy and that intelligence. So technology is great, but without the human knowledge, experience, and interference, sometimes we see a lot of sellers fail. So I believe having a combination of all 3 and 4 layers of having the connectivity in place in terms of how you plug into these marketplaces, having the automation to automate the manual process that you are doing, using data to make effective decisions on which marketplaces to work with and how to work with that marketplace is very important. And I think the final thing is the localization. We have a lot of brands across the globe, majority of them from the US, from Europe, want to come into the Middle East. But what we find is that they try to replicate what they do in Europe here in the Middle East. It doesn't work. The reason why it doesn't work is eBay Europe is different from Amazon UAE. Amazon UAE is different from Walmart US. They all work differently. They work with different algorithms. They work with different seller requirements, different compliancy, and even different fulfillment models, for example. So for Noon, for example, has 4 different fulfillment models that you have to sign up for. How do you know which one fits your business? So having those understanding and having those support and technology combined is what makes a successful seller on marketplaces. And Channel Engine can do that for you.
That's interesting, Olu. I think there are a lot of takeaways for audience here. If anybody is interested to expand beyond the region, look at multiple channels, as you mentioned, right? Channel Engine is already connected with 1,300 plus channels, right? So I think
Correct.
you have rightly connected the dots as well, how the strategy should differ from just listing the products in one market and trying to expect success in the other market. That's not going to happen for sure. So great. Thank you. Thanks for your insights. Now, moving on to next question for Mr. Sandeep. Sandeep, you have briefly touched on how TradeLink is trying to leverage technology into their day-to-day operations, right? Now, when it comes to cross-border, what do you think is the biggest challenge your sellers are facing at the moment, and where TradeLink is trying to support these sellers when it comes to cross-border trade?
Sorry, I was on mute. That's a very relevant question, because I think from a cross-border sourcing, I would say has always been one of the biggest friction point for both the seller and from a seller perspective and also the customer perspective, especially the SMEs we partner with. And currently, and it's also even more complex now, considering the current environment which we are operating. So if you look at it from a traditional business point of view, the importing of products has got multiple layers, right? I mean, we have to find reliable suppliers, negotiate terms, manage compliance, logistics, warehousing, and finally distribution. And I think a lot of that is now partners like DCC also gets consolidated and try and solve it. But for most of the SMEs, it's complex, and it is also an often I would say a barrier for their growth. So what we do, our platforms like TradeLink in general, I think our job is to remove that complexity, and by building a lot of integrated ecosystem. And the first part to it, I would say, is it starts with the sourcing. So from a trailing perspective, we have partnership with global platforms like Alibaba, AliExpress. We also have a team based out of China, and which essentially opens up access to vast, I would say, number of international sellers from China and Far East and beyond. And then we also have a dedicated sourcing team that works from in UAE, which works very closely with the business to identify what are the products and the price points and the segments which works for them, to identify the right suppliers which can work for them in short. And then the process starts with identifying the quality, negotiating all of that. But this enables the SMEs from a customer. So we start from the customer. So we the SMEs or the retailers or the bakalas which we target, we give them one single platform to navigate, to identify the product categories and assortment what they want, and then we go back up the funnel to identify which are the suppliers who can fulfill. The second part of it I would say is basically on the logistics and operation front. So we have a dedicated logistics infrastructure, and that manages the entire journey, right? From the importation, customs clearance, documentation, warehouse, last mile delivery, the entire chain. And this is critical because logistics is, I would say, is often the where the most delays and inefficiencies happen, and it changes based on the circumstances. Especially currently, it is so unpredictable. So for as trailing centralizing this, we are giving businesses much more predictability and speed. And finally, if I put all of this together on the platform, we are giving businesses an option to pick, let's say, a supplier from China, a supplier from any other markets in Far East, and they get the access of credit. They then don't have to rely on multiple 3PL and other partners. They rely on trailing as end-to-end solution provider. We consolidate and deliver seamlessly. So we are not just, I would say, simplifying. We are simplifying, but we are not only doing simplifying the cross-border trade. We are also making it far more accessible, and I would say very capital efficient for the retailers and the SMEs. And that's what I feel is enabling the business to scale faster and expand their assortments and things like that.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for insight, Sandeep. I think here we have a lot of takeaways for our audience if they are looking at B2B or B2C international business, right? I think TradeLink becomes a right choice for them to manage the end-to-end supply chain. That's what I see here, right? So thank you. Thanks for your insights. Moving on to Olu, being a technology company.
Kapil, if I may just ask, I
Yeah.
know for a fact that Hazal has another meeting that she needs to go to. Maybe we just switch. Maybe Hazal
Yeah.
question
Thank you
first and
so
then
much.
Olu. If that's
Thank you
okay.
so
If
much,
that's okay, Olu.
Arjun.
No worries at all.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So, Hazel, a quick question. I know you have touched based on the ecosystem components what Ozone has built, right? So, what are the top 2 or 3 ecosystem components which are really helping businesses to scale in the Russian market?
The main thing, like, by the way, I'm sorry about the noise. Apparently, there's a construction in the office building today, so there will
No.
be some noises behind. Sorry about that. And the thing is, like, mostly in marketplaces like us, sellers struggle most with logistics, as I told you like 5 minutes ago. Logistics, compliance, payments, and of course, localization. Like, if a marketplace like solves these problems, not problems, but creates a system with these 4 main stable things, like, then it creates like a good execution. And the thing is, like, mostly then when we see something as a problem, it's not the demand problem, it's an execution problem on our side or on the system side. So like, what is changing now, what we're trying to also change it now, like, to create stable and sustainable systems to provide good execution.
Hello, hi, Hazel. I think we lost you for a bit.
Trying to get more evolved. Also, like, the market, all of the marketplaces, like, as again, like I told you, like, this is a really complex thing, like, to create a seamless operation for both sides, for customer side and for on seller or like third party side. It's really hard to create a seamless operation, and like, marketplaces are absorbing this complexity. This is why, like, it's critical, like, for marketplaces like us, for teams like us, to build systems like this, like to provide more sustainable and of course more productive ways of working with like both sides. Like, and now like today platforms are like us leading like we do handle everything like end-to-end logistics, like built-in compliance systems in like internally, and multi-currency pay. Like I'm just giving like some example because like to think on it's like these are the biggest stuff, like compliance, because working with different countries, different like customers, and different countries companies with different tax stuff, like it's a little bit like different than working in a domestic market. So like working on these kind of stuff, logistics, payment, and compliance stuff are the main three things that we create a stable system in.
Great. Thank
And
you.
thank
Thanks
you so much
your
for
insight.
having me, guys. By the way, I'm so sorry, I'm interrupting. I need to leave because I need to be on another meeting now. Thank you so much, guys, like for creating an amazing webinar like this. Like hopefully we'll see each other like soon in person back in Dubai. Like we're planning to come back to Dubai soon. Again, thank you so much to everyone, and like I'll be seeing you around then.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
as
Have a
well.
good day.
Olu, thanks for accommodating that.
No, that's all right. Thank you. No worries at all.
So considering we have now a minute or two left, so I would like to put a last question to Olu. Pick a side, Olu. Now we are talking of AI being embedded into e-commerce, right? From the marketplace side, seller side, right? And the technology platforms like you. Pick a side, very clear. Over a long period of time, do you think AI is going to favor the businesses or AI is going to favor marketplaces? A quick
Thank you.
insight, 1 minute
I'll,
insight,
I'll,
and
I'll
you'll
be
have to
I'll be
pick a
really
side.
quick. Yeah, I'll be really quick. I think first of all, I'd like to say that Challenging is the first technology company that's part of the Agentic Alliance Group, which is an ecosystem to educate and get onboarded into this new technology. That's the first thing. Second thing is obviously AI is reshaping the discovery stage for sure, right? We all do it right now in terms of using tools like Perplexity, like ChatGPT, as Arjun mentioned earlier in the session. But also there are new solutions coming like Rufus and other ones that are now becoming a way for sellers to get their products seen on those platforms. And obviously the buyers uses these channels as discovery. And however, what we see though is that the full execution of instant checkout on those channels is still a little bit fragmented, I think. For me, for us, Challenging, we see it as another channel, and we see that evolving in a few years' time, where it will have the full end-to-end flow, and you can actually connect to those channels via Challenging to sell your products to on those platforms, and buyers can buy from those platforms in future. But we are not there yet. What it's really good for at the moment is the discovery phase, which is great. It's just a great thing. And what we are seeing is AI obviously helping sellers when it comes to things like the content optimization, because the algorithms on these platforms are super advanced, and being able to have the right optimized content is very, very key. And what I mean by that is how your products are listed on the various platforms, on the various channels. Either is the quick commerce channel like we've been talking about just now, or the social commerce channel like TikTok, or Amazon, or eBay, or Ozon. The way your content is displayed is super, super important. So having the right content, attributes, descriptions, images is how that helps sellers via AI to be noticed and discovered. What we see though is that obviously the transaction and execution layer is still way behind. Technologies are coming in the next few years where the checkout, the payment, and the fulfillment orchestration will happen. And we are seeing Amazon and Shopify doing some great work around that. But if I have to pick a side, I will always say AI is a way to get products discovered, but however, the technology is still behind in terms of full execution, and the instant checkout still requires a few years to evolve. So quick takeaway, I would say marketplaces are the ecosystem to be, making sure that you are optimized, automated to scale using AI. AI can obviously help in terms of time to value and speed to market.
That's interesting. That's interesting to hear from Olu, who works for a technology company. sitting at the top, right? I mean, we have sellers, we have marketplaces, we have consumer, but you guys are the one who are building the platforms. So it's good to hear from the builders, right? Of these
Exactly. We are the glue that brings it all together, right? So
Exactly.
all the
Great.
marketplaces globally, we connect them to make sure that you guys can be efficient and also be successful on that.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Olu, for your insights. And I'd like to thank all the panel members. And I'll leave the floor with Arjun to conclude.
Oh my God, what an amazing session we had today. I mean, we started talking about Amazon. We heard from Rajat about his experience. Then we went into B2B with TradeLink. We went all the way to Russia with Hazal. And then there is Olu connecting the world, right? So this was an amazing session. Honestly, for people who have joined us today, thank you very much. You're the reason why we even created this series. We hope to bring more such engaging sessions to you over the next many more months. Every month there is a session. So do stay connected with Dubai Commerce City on our social platforms to know about the next edition in the series, which will take place next month. And don't forget to register. Do follow us on our YouTube channel, where you can see a recording of all our webinars. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries in tech, drive trade forward, and shape tomorrow's trends. This is Arjun Sarkar signing off from the beautiful Dubai Commerce City campus today from Tech, Trade, and Trends. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.